Yeah, I mean, straight up, that is one of the most dominant calendar days I think you can possibly have on a baseball field. Let's talk about it all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Friday, May 9th, 2025. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. You can turn any TV into your Xbox with no console needed. Head to amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Friday. Vibes are high. The Detroit Tigers just absolutely obliterated the Colorado Rockies in both games of a doubleheader. They sweep the series, they take all three, and now they come home with the best record in the American League, the best run differential in the entire sport of baseball by like 20 runs at the time that I record this. And if the Diamondbacks maybe beat the Dodgers on Thursday night, the Tigers will be tied for the best record in the game of baseball. Vibes are immaculate right now, okay? They win game 1, 10-2. They win game 2, 11-1. 1, 2, flip, reverse, do a spin. 25-13 is the Tigers' record in the 2025 season. My first thought was that was so much better. This was a night and day difference in terms of just competitive at bats and performance level in this. Well, I keep wanting to say in this game, in this day, like the fact that they were able to look that dominant in Coors Field. I know the Rockies are one of the worst teams in like we've seen a month and a half into the year. I get it, and they looked terrible, and we'll talk about that. But Coors is weird, and it's just nothing's ever a guarantee. And the fact that they were able to look that dominant for 18 innings is absolutely incredible. I'm so happy for the team for how they battled this series, the effort that they had. Proud of the effort that they had. Just dominant wins, and that is what you should do against an opponent of that caliber, right? That you know what that looked like? That looked like one of the best teams in all of baseball was playing one of the worst teams in all of baseball. That is what those two games looked like. And that is what happened. Also, if you want to get super, overly analytical here, they didn't burn through their pitching staff. They dominated this doubleheader, put up a ton of runs, crushed a bad team, but best case scenario throughout all that, they used 3 relief pitchers in 2 games. And none of their high leverage guys. They played a doubleheader, and all of their high leverage relievers got a day off. No Holton, no Canely, no Vest. All of them. Fantastic. Quite literally the best case scenario. What went right in this game? Let's start with the pitching. I know everybody wants to talk about the offense. Everybody digs the long ball. But we didn't really hit the long ball. We'll talk about that a little bit later too. But the pitching in Coors was fantastic. I want to start with Casey Mize, who, if I had to give, like an MVP of the day, I really think it would be him. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 8 strikeouts. His ERA is now 2.53. This is why we cannot be so reactionary. Okay, we have to try our best to not be so reactionary. And I say we genuinely, like I am also awful at it. And it's something that I've been working on for years. And I'm just too emotional for my own good. After Casey Mize's most recent start, the stuff that I read online was absolutely absurd. And it wasn't even that bad of an outing, really. It wasn't like he like went up there and gave up 9 runs in 3 innings. Like, it really wasn't even that bad. And some of the things that people were throwing on the internet about, like, oh, the fun is over. He's back to what he was. He can't get. This was a good outing. And this is against a really bad team. So we can't go too reactionary the other way either. But this is far more in line with what we've seen from him since the calendar year flipped. 16 swings and misses, a healthy amount on every pitch type. He was so good. The fastball was fantastic. The splitter, that's the thing that people don't talk about with Coors as much, is like everyone loves to talk about how much of a home run park it is. And the fact that he kept the ball in the yard was great. But this is a park that just zaps movement out of, and we talked about it a little bit with Job on yesterday's show, but it will eliminate movement. And the fact that his splitter and all of the different variations, the 83 different sliders he has, all played at that level, I think is a fantastic sign. Again, a ton of swing and miss, a terrible lineup. I am not trying to convince you otherwise. A really, really, really bad lineup, but still nice to see. That's the thing, is like, no one's going to apologize for doing what the team is supposed to do against a bad team. You shouldn't feel bad or apologize. Like, it's not personal. It's just business. I'm pretty sure Bobby Scales said that on the radio, who's just a fantastic job this year, has done a fantastic job this year alongside Dan Dickerson on the radio. But, that, B, that's what's supposed to happen. Good teams beat up bad teams. The Tigers are a good baseball team. And that is absolutely freaking awesome. Keider Montero, 8 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. I think if it wasn't just predetermined that, hey, we're going to get Bo Brisky an inning here, that Montero probably could have gone for his second career complete game, because he was at 100 pitches still, or under 100 pitches still. The command was really bad early, and I thought we were in for a really rocky outing. I thought that this was going to be, oh my goodness, this is going to be the Coors game where it's just ridiculous, and it's 15-13, and Montero can't keep the Rockies off the bases and whatever. He adjusted, and the adjustment, it was not rocket science either. He just said, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to only throw the ball in the strike zone. I don't care if it's a bad pitch. I don't care if it's over the heart of the plate. This lineup is not good enough to justify, like, the amount of trying to, tiptoe around the strike zone and, like, oh, we're trying to paint everything and whatnot. Just throw the ball over the plate. This team is now like 6-30. And he had 13 swings and misses still. Only 2 strikeouts, not a very high total, but was still missing bats when he needed. Got a few called strikes as well. Even late in the game, in the 8th inning, got a called strike for a strike 3. So that adjustment was great, and his stuff will play. I know that people get frustrated with him at times. At the end of the day, he's going back down to Toledo. This guy, when everyone is healthy, is not even in our rotation and has the ability to go 8 innings of 1-run ball against a major league team. That's incredible pitching depth. Tigers pitching factory, baby. Innings is really the most important thing that both of them gave this team, though. The fact that, again, you only use 3 relievers, you didn't even really need to use your bullpen in a doubleheader. It is absolutely massive going forward in the game itself and or during the day itself. And obviously, like I said, coming home this weekend against a Rangers team that has some really good pitching, you're going to want to be able to keep the score low, and you're going to want to be able to use your highest leverage relievers, and hopefully they are able to do so. So best case scenario, truly, across the board. Let's talk about the relievers that did pitch, then we'll talk about the offense, okay? We'll do that right after this. Going to talk to you today about our friends over at Trade Coffee. let's be real, coffee isn't just a drink. It is a ritual, a lifeline, a thing that gets you from half asleep to fully functioning. And if it's that essential, why settle for anything less than amazing? That's where Trade Coffee comes in. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the US, delivering fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Whether you're a cold brew fan or a pour over purist, they've got the roast that you will love. I took Trade's quiz. Was really cool. They had, the hosts take a quiz. It only took 1 minute to do. It's available for everybody on their website. And they then decide kind of what they think you will like. And the first bag they sent me was absolutely spot on. My roommate and I are already kind of diving into it. It is fantastic. It's fresh, smells amazing. And honestly, it ruined kind of like normal grocery store coffee for me, but in obviously the best way possible. Right now, Trade is exclusively offering our customers 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/LockedOnMLB. That's TRADE.com/LockedOnMLB for 50% off your 1-month trial. drinktrade.com/LockedOnMLB. Also got to talk to y'all about our friends over at Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Did you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? You can turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console is required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on Fire TV. It's awesome and versatile. Like if you're a big traveler, instead of having to lug your console around, you can just take your Fire Stick and go and plug into your Airbnb or hotel or whatever the heck. And you can play high quality Xbox games at a fraction of the cost of a console. And if you already have a console, well, now you can put Fire TV sticks in other rooms and not have to take your console from room to room. It is truly incredible. So head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller are required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. As always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. And we will, of course, be back on Monday recapping this series against the Rangers that we'll preview at the end of the show. Got to keep talking about these 2 victories in one day on Thursday in Colorado. The bullpen was great. Obviously, again, limited amount, but Gunther, Lee, who got optioned after the game. Again, just a testament. He's been great for the Tigers so far. Not the last you'll see of him either. I'm sure he'll be back, honestly, relatively quickly. Sean Gunther, great. And then Bo Brisky. I think that's the best we've seen him since coming back from injury. Got the fastball up to 96, 97. I think that's really important going forward to get him going. People forget, he was literally the highest leverage reliever in the postseason in Houston for this baseball team. He's a valuable asset, and hopefully that can continue to be the case, because this bullpen is incredibly deep with Bo Brisky healthy. And in it, the offense, the old 21 runs of offense in one calendar day thing that, teams do all the time. So much better looking as a team today. Just absolutely clobbered them in both of these games. Obviously, again, 11 and 10 runs 10 and 11 runs respectively. The team approach was fantastic. We're going to talk about the individuals, but the Tigers clearly had a mindset and a mentality going up there, and a game plan is the word I'm looking for and couldn't think of, for no matter who was on the mound. And what makes a good team is when at-bat to at-bat isn't drastically different. It just feels like when you're the pitcher, it just feels like it's 1-9. All 9 players are just one long at-bat. That is when it is really tough. And I think that's what the Tigers did incredibly well. They weren't trying to do too much and go, okay, we're in Coors, we got to hit a ton of homers. No, they said this is also the biggest field in baseball. We're just going to try to find grass. And that's what they did. Trey Sweeney, I mean, my goodness. Trey Sweeney goes 3 for 4 with a walk in game 1 and goes 2 for 4 in game 2. His season stats have now skyrocketed over the last 3 or 4 games. I'm trying to pull him up really quickly here. He is now on the season batting 269, almost a 270 hitter with a 733 OPS. That is comfortably above league average. Both of those are. He went from well below league average to comfortably above in the span of like 4 calendar days. That's how hot of a stick he is swinging. Really great to see. Going to make that decision. You know, he heard me and you know, the fan base talking about like, oh, you know, when everyone's healthy, where does Trey Sweeney fit into the lineup? He said, enough of that. We're gonna absolutely snap here. Hopefully he can keep that rolling. Gleyber Torres is such a professional hitter, man. A few hits between both games, 4 RBIs total in both games. Just such a professional at bat. He's almost impossible to strike out. He's not afraid to take a walk. He takes what the pitchers give him, and he's not afraid to kind of take a big hack if he's in a leverage count as well, and try to hit one over the wall. Just a really, really professional at bat at the top of this lineup that I think has been super valuable. Andy Ibanez. What do we say? What do we say? Andy Ibanez against left-handed pitching is just prime Barry Bonds, and there's nothing you can really do to stop it as an opponent. That is, he's just such an awesome weapon to have on the bench. Oh, a lefty's in the game? Well, let me introduce you to my friend Andy Ibanez, who, when you look at his stats, you'll go, oh, I almost wonder. This is obviously not the case, and I'm very much kidding. I want to preface this. But, like, wouldn't it be hilarious if we found out that Hinch was like, yeah, you know, I put Andy out there against righties in blowouts just to lower his season stats so that other managers don't realize how good he is against just lefties? Because if he only hit against lefties, he'd have MVP numbers. So we got to put him out there in uncompetitive games against righties to lower his. This is my new big giant brain theory, okay, that I'm going to go with. But yeah, obviously a fantastic day in game 1 for Andy Ibanez, and even like I make fun of his season stats. Even now, he's hitting 259 with a 746 OPS. That's well above league average as well. Torkelson, fantastic day. I think 2 hits in game 1, 3 hits in game 2. Again, like in no homers, and that's the thing that is so encouraging to me. He's just taking what the pitchers give him, and there's runners on base. Did he hit 1,000 today with runners in scoring position? I feel like he had 3 different hits with RISP between both games, and just it's so awesome to see. Such a professional approach to the plate, not afraid to take his walks either. Continues to just look really good. Justin Henry Malloy. We talked about this on yesterday's show, man. Margot was outrighted to Toledo. That means that the organization chose to keep Justin Henry Malloy over bringing Margot back. Now, Margot's rehab assignment is over. He is healthy. And they chose Malloy, and for him to go out there and have a really good game in game 1, I think was so important because clearly he's going to be here at least for the foreseeable future. So good to get him going. What he get on base 3 times, 2-3 times, fantastic. Again, as I said earlier, the Tigers did all of this with only 1 home run. It was going to be a really cool stat where they were going to score 18 or 19 runs or whatever with just no home runs. But then Colt Keith had to ruin that, quote unquote, by hitting a 450-foot moonshot to right field. I'm starting to get really excited about Colt Keith again. I don't think people realize that's probably too dramatic. I think a lot of people remember and realize, especially if you're, a listener of this show. I'd imagine you're just as, obsessed and dedicated with this team as a lot of us are. But when he was promoted from the minor leagues, like, this dude literally is one of the best minor league hitters the Detroit Tigers have had in their organization in my entire life, if not just straight up the best. He raked, okay? And like I'm telling you, I'm so excited. If he has turned a corner and he's going to really heat up now, he already has. I mean, the last couple of weeks, his numbers are fantastic. I am so excited about the heights that he can reach. And yeah, that swing's a beauty. He does the little the pose. He strikes a pose when he really crushes a no doubter, and it's really fun to watch. Let's talk about what went wrong. I have two things, and one of them isn't even the Tigers. So we're gonna do that, and then we'll get into stuff. Okay, we'll do that right after this. Got to talk to you today about our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's game-winning shots or a breakout player, there's never a better time to get in on all the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, same-game parlays, and so many more ways to play smart and win big. I mean, I'll be real with you. The Pistons gave the Knicks a harder fight than the Celtics. And I think that means something. Okay. So go over to FanDuel and get in on all of the great NBA playoff action. And if you're new to FanDuel, this is the perfect time to sign up because you can head to fanduel.com and place your first $5 bet. And if that bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. What went wrong? The Colorado Rockies. I am not kidding. I had a hard time finding like anything for what went wrong. This was just such an incredible domination. Pitching dominant, hitting dominant. Like everything just went the Tigers' way. The Rockies were, I mean, they had 3 errors in game 1, dude. Like this is a bad, and 2, they had 5 errors. Oh my gosh. I'm just now realizing they had 5 errors across both of these games. Their starting pitchers got absolutely lit up all 3 games. The one silver lining, there's some dogs in that bullpen, okay? And like no one will ever say that or talk about it because they're going to be losing almost every game they play the rest of the season. So like who even cares? There's some talent in that pen, man. And if they can just put somewhat of a respectable product on the field, that's going to be a strength for them in the future. But doesn't look like that's going to happen this season. The only thing on the Tigers side of things that I have under what went wrong in this game was like, I didn't love Riley Green's at bats. And I'm not even trying to be a jerk and like, oh, he's complaining when this is how the show is set up. Okay. I talk about what went right. I talk about what went wrong, whether it's a dominant win or a blowout loss. I find things that went right in blowout losses. I'm going to find things that went wrong in blowout wins. Please, I promise you, I have nothing to complain about on Thursday. Absolutely nothing. I promise. Riley Green just, for all the offense that the Tigers had, for a guy who we expect to be one of, if not the best players on the team, had a couple of strikeouts, did have a walk in the one game he played. He didn't play both games either. That probably has something to do with it. But just some ugly at bats and runners on base for one of them, had a strikeout. Just not the best day at the office. Let's talk stuff. Loved the amount of Tigers fans at Coors, man. Like just absolutely took over. It sounded like a home game. On the broadcast, radio and TV, both of them. It sounded like a home game. When the Tigers would get a hit, the crowd would cheer. There was a Detroit basketball chant. There was a Detroit baseball chant. There was a Let's Go Red Wings chant. I didn't hear a Jared Goff chant, but I imagine if they were about it, with all the other teams, that there was probably something to go with that. Like just awesome to see. The Tigers baseball is so back. We're taking over opponents' ballparks on the opposite side of the country, and we've been sold out for this weekend for like a week already. The hype train is back, baby. The Motor City Cats are so back. Shout out Brewer Hicklin. Had a couple of hits, a couple of stolen bases, good defense in center field. First major league hit, just absolutely awesome to see. So I want to give a tip of the cap to him. I'd imagine he'll be sent down pretty quickly after they get back home from Colorado. But who cares, man? Like this is again, like that is the thing that Scott Harris has gotten so much heat for. And again, I still want to get high end players and for them to kind of break the checkbook a little bit and get a big name player in here. But he's been so tedious about making sure that the depth of the organization has improved. And its performances like Keider Montero and like Brewer Hicklin and like Chase Lee that kind of remind you, like, oh, yeah, like that is why those, Bailey Horn, like that's why those small trades for cash and those waiver claims and whatnot are important. They add up over time. And, when you're on your sixth or seventh string center fielder, that's when it kind of shows. This was just such a great day of baseball. You get the sweep. You're on a 4-game win streak. I was like crabby yesterday with, even though they won. And like, you have to understand that, I guess you don't have to. I'm going to try to articulate it maybe better than I did yesterday, because I had a lot of comments that were like, why are you complaining about a win? Like, this is really stupid. Like, that's not what I was the point that I was trying to get across. The point that I was trying to get across was honestly the opposite. It was the fact that the Tigers are at a point where they can play not even close to their best baseball and still beat other major league teams. I used to pray for times like this. I used to beg for a team that was good enough to be able to, you know what, today wasn't our best and they still went out there and won. That is a good thing. That is a positive. And if I sounded like I was, complaining yesterday instead of celebrating that fact, then I apologize. I clearly didn't articulate it as I wanted to. But the Tigers right now have the best run differential in baseball. They have the best record in the American League. And if the Dodgers lose, I'm recording this before the Dodgers game on Thursday night. If the Dodgers lose, then the Tigers will be tied for the best record in all of baseball. And the coolest part about it is that they've needed to. Look at the American League Central. Cleveland's 22-15. Kansas City's 23-16 and has won 15 of their last 17. Okay, they are on an absolute heater. The Twins figured it out. They're up to 18-20. They had one of the worst records in baseball just a couple of weeks ago. And the White Sox are the White Sox. But like, they got the Pope, I guess. That's something. Everything's looking up. All 5 teams in the AL Central. But seriously, like that's the coolest part is like it's not just like, oh, they're beating bad teams. Like, no, they've had one of the toughest schedules in baseball in April and the end of March. And they won. And they have needed to be one of the best teams in baseball to be at the top of the American League Central that has been crazy good. Remember when Jeff Passan was like, oh, look, the American League Central is a joke, like 4 games into the season because everybody was 2-4. Let's bring that back up. Let's talk some ball. Come outside, baby. Just awesome. Absolutely awesome. And it's really fun to be a Tigers fan right now. Really, really fun. I love Jeff Passan, by the way. I'm not trying to slander him. I think he's good for baseball too. John Brebbia back this weekend, presumably. He was actually even with the team in Colorado. So I'd imagine if the Tigers so choose that they can. Now they might just be like, hey, we don't need you anymore. You're DFA'd if they like who they have in the pen. But I think there's a real chance that he's back this weekend. Chase Lee optioned for Brewer Hicklin. I would imagine that Hicklin will go back down to the minors when they get home. Like I already said, that leaves, maybe Brebbia can come back for him. Maybe they want Chase Lee. I really like Chase Lee. I think he's a righty silencer. I would really like to keep him in the bullpen if possible, but I'm not sure if that is possible. So we'll see how they kind of maneuver through all of that. Other fun stuff. Don Kelly is now the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Donnie Kelly, baby. They just can't stop Donnie Kelly. DKB is now the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Interim, they fired their manager off to a pretty disappointing start to the year for them. But yeah, Donnie Kelly, baby. He's been in Pittsburgh. Their bench coach or whatever forever too. So glad he's finally getting a crack to be the manager. We'll see if that lasts, but cool to see some more Tigers from the past getting opportunities after their playing days. Let's talk this weekend, okay? Comerica Park is about to be packed, dude. They're already talking about like standing room only for the Scooble start on Friday, and honestly for like all the games this weekend. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous in downtown Detroit. The Tigers are playing incredible baseball. All the other sports in town are over. Weather is breaking. Like I said, the boys of summer are back. We're just so unbelievably back, and it's early May. It's early May. The weather is just now breaking, at like, fully. Even I don't know. It'll probably snow tomorrow now, but like, you get my point. And people here already are aware and understand that this team is legit. Last year, the second half of last year wasn't just a fluke, and everybody wants to go be a part of it. And this city, when the Tigers are good, is different, bro. It is just so fun to be downtown. You got Texas this weekend. It's not a walk in the park, okay? This is not the Rockies. Nobody is the Rockies right now. The Rangers at the time of this recording are 18-20. The pitching matchups are Patrick Corbin versus Tarek Skubal, DeGrom versus Flaherty, and Eovaldi versus Olsen. Eovaldi's been one of the best pitchers in baseball this year. He's, I think, one of the most underrated pitchers in all of baseball. I genuinely think he is one of the better starters that the sport has to offer year in and year out. Just had some injury stuff at points in his career that maybe derailed that conversation. He's a dog, okay? DeGrom, unless you've been, unless you're like brand new to baseball, let me explain something to you. Healthy Jacob DeGrom is not only the best pitcher on the planet right now, he is one of the best pitchers that this game has literally ever seen. So we'll see. When the season first started, a little rockier. He's trying to get used to not throwing as hard as he can, changing velocity a little bit, changing shapes a little bit to accommodate that. His last couple of starts have been a lot better. We'll see what we get from him. And then Corbin, for as much as he was like clowned on over the last couple of years, he's actually had a pretty solid season in Texas. So this is a really good pitching weekend. You're going to see some really good pitching. The Tigers throwing out 3 dogs, the Rangers throwing out, 2 of undoubtedly the better pitchers that the sport has to offer. Really the biggest thing for the Rangers, the reason why with this pitching staff, they find themselves sub 500 is this offense that was supposed to be one of the best offenses in all of baseball. Even like some people said, the best lineup that baseball had to offer going into the season has been absolutely putrid lately. And so you have a real chance to take advantage of this team at home in front of a packed crowd. It's going to be fun. Go take 2 of 3. Go take 2 of 3. Why not? Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We will, of course, be back on Monday. I appreciate you all greatly for tuning in. We're going to end the show by saying rest in peace to Chet Lemon. Unbelievably sad news. He's been dealing with a lot of health issues over the years. I put this out online. You cannot tell the story of the Detroit Tigers, right? The history, the 100 and whatever we're at, 20-something years, 124 year history of the Detroit Tigers without talking about Chet Lemon, right? He's not in the Hall of Fame. He's not, the best baseball player to ever put on an Old English D or anything like that. But he is and was so good for those 80s Tigers. Patrolled center field like maybe nothing any of us have seen since. I was not alive for his playing career, but he was around the Tigers organization before his health started deteriorating. He was always coaching after playing. He loved the game of baseball, and I am just so thankful and glad that he and his family were able to come back to Detroit one more time before he passed. Last year, the 40th anniversary of the 1984 Tigers, Chet Lemon was there in a wheelchair, got a huge ovation from the crowd, maybe the loudest of anybody that was there. All the players were emotional and talking about how cool it was to see and talk to Chet again. that is something that I hope none of them ever forget. And I hope you as a fan never forget Chet Lemon. Genuinely. One of the coolest and best players and people to ever wear an Old English D. And anybody who was alive in that era, I'd argue he was probably one of, if not their favorite player. Appreciate you all greatly. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. And I'll catch you on Monday, baby. Go Tigers.